The regular Eveleth City Council meeting scheduled for 5 p.m. April 18th will now come to order. Roll call.
Councillor Hogue. Oh, Councillor Hogue.
Oh, here, I'm sorry. I'm alert.
Councillor Lillis.
Here.
Councillor Hadrava.
Yes.
Mayor Vysalovich.
Here.
Rocket start. That's not good.
We don't have any approval of previous minutes, and item D, approval of tonight's agenda. Does anybody have any deletions, changes, or additions? It's kind of a short one here tonight. If not, call for a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Hogue. Do I have a support?
I'll support it.
Support by Drava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No appointments or presentations. And at this time, we have an opportunity for any visitors to address the council for 5 minutes, but we will allow more time at the end of the meeting. If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which is approval of payroll, March 16th to the 31st. No one has any questions? I call for a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the one item.
So moved.
Motion made by Lillis. Do I have support?
Support.
Support by Drava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. No public hearings, no unfinished business. Item J, new business. Number 1, revised fire department administrative guidelines. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Mayor, just for the council's benefit, this is something that Chief Haas completed recently, and the Public Safety Committee, myself and Councilor Claiborne, had an opportunity to become involved and review this. This is a fairly standard operating procedure item, and there were a few items within that particular guideline set that were changed. Nothing, of any great significance from our perspective, but of great significance to the operation of the fire department. I guess in a nutshell, it pretty much brings it up to date and in line with today's standards. So with that, I would make a motion to approve the revised fire department administrative guidelines.
Do I have a support to that motion?
I'll support.
Motion made by Lillis, support by Hogue. Any further discussion? It's important to keep, every so many years, keep those up to date with all the personnel and law changes they have. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, quotes for 2017 concrete, curb, sidewalk, and pavement replacement. And Jerry, you're recommending. Oh, did they?
Yeah, and both of them are the same, I just had a different date on the bottom. So I'm recommending DH.
I mean 3D?
3D.
Yeah,
Okay. I was looking
the old
at
one,
it.
yeah. But,
Your recommendation is 3D concrete,
yeah,
and that's another 30,000 this year we're gonna spend. That's 20 from us, 10 from the county again?
it's 30 from us and from
Oh, okay.
40.
Gonna call for a motion that we accept the recommendation from the Public Works Director to award 3D concrete to curb and sidewalk repair for 2017.
So moved.
Motion made by Hogue. Do I have a support?
Support.
Support by Drava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item G3, appoint fire department officers, deputy fire chief. Captain, fire ground, lieutenant safety officer, and lieutenant training officer. We have Dan Kraske, deputy fire chief, Guy Sperlin, captain fire ground, Tony Menard, lieutenant safety officer, and Cassie Kresge, Lieutenant Training Officer. Call for a motion. That's a recommendation from, that's you, Brian, and Joe, and the Public Safety Committee.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to accept your recommendation that we appoint these individuals as officers in the department.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Lillis. Do I have a support?
I'll support.
Support by Hoag. Any further discussion?
Mayor, I had a couple comments I'd like to make with regard to all of the candidates that participated in this particular process. Thank you very much. I wish Councilor Coivinon was here this evening. I would be expressing his regards in the same light. I want everyone to know that we very much appreciate all that you do for the city of Eveleth. And I'm speaking of the entire Eveleth Fire Department as well as the Eveleth Ambulance Service. I know that recently some comments were made in our local paper that probably may have caused some people to see operations a little bit more dimly than I would like them to be seen. And normally I wouldn't even make or bother to respond to such things, but I do want to respond by saying that I am very comfortable with the character of the folks that are running the operation, and I am very thankful for their service to our city. I certainly have no doubt that they are doing so in the best interest of our community, and I have no doubt that they are doing so over and above, or I should say our chief in particular has been doing tasks with very little compensation over and above what is expected of him. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in that regard. Councilor Coivinon and I discussed this as well, and he certainly feels the same way that I do. I guess we both were kind of at a loss how we might respond, but that, I guess, is the extent to which I would respond to it.
Well, you know, even a dog barks when they don't like something, so free country, everybody's got an opinion. And that's what kind of makes the system work, you know what I mean? That's. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item number 4, request from Jessica Leach, Boomtown Woodfire to sell liquor at the Hippodrome, April 29th, June 10th, June 24th, and August 12th. I'm assuming those are the games for the roller derby? Well, they got, is the same amount they had this year, or we got one more this year than last year? Anyway, anybody have any questions or anything? I'll call for a motion that we grant this request. It looks like the first one is coming up. Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Could you make it contingent on the receipt of the certificate of liability insurance listing the city as an additional insured, with the Hippodrome on there and the dates? That's the standard procedure.
Okay, you want
Okay.
to change your motion?
I'll
Brad?
motion with everything she said.
Do I have a support to that motion?
I'll support.
Support by Hoag. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, nice to see some action down there during the summer too, you know, it's kind of justifies, you know, the expense of keeping the facility up. Item number 5, resolution accepting donation for the library in memory of Ellen Lovato Rousey. You know, Ellen was a fixture up there for so many years. A real resource for the community. And that was kind of a, you know, unexpected, what I gathered. And the donation is from Ron Feldman, Julie Hirsch, and Jack and Chris Kuhn. Can I call for a motion that we accept this donation in the name of Ellen Rousey?
So moved.
I'll support.
Motion made by Hoag, support by Drava. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, resolution accepting donations for the K-9 unit. Our friend, the ATM, from Joanne McCarthy and her niece Lori, and Disabled American Veterans, Virginia, Minnesota.
I'll make that motion.
I don't know if you're out soliciting, chief, or just... Motion made by Hadrava, we have a support.
Support?
Support by Lillis. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Resolution supporting an annual appropriation in the amount of $4,250,000 from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund for Minnesota Regional Library Systems. Jackie, you know a little bit more about this? Is this money already allocated, or are we voicing support for its allocation?
Well, we're voicing support to make sure that the funding continues. We've been the recipient of things like theater tickets that we give away to folks, and folks that wouldn't have had the opportunity to attend some of the theater events are able to go. So we're finding it a good way to get folks into the library, involved in the library, involved in the arts, and just to support that we want the funding to continue so it's not diverted to some other cause.
Oh, okay. Anybody else have any questions or anything? If not, I'll call for a motion that we adopt this resolution of support.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Hadrava. Do I have a support?
I'll support.
Support by Hoag. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8. Resolution authorizing the acquisition of certain tax forfeit property. That's right down here on Grant Avenue, is that it?
It is. The
Vacant lot.
county land department is working hard at trying to either get tax forfeited property back on the tax rolls or into the hands to communities for public purpose. And as you see from the map, that's part of our public parking lot down there.
Well, that's what I was
Yeah.
looking
I always
at
thought it
this.
was ours.
Yes.
I always thought it was ours too.
It's not ours. So we're gonna go through the paperwork, not too big of a deal, pay a nominal amount, and then the ownership will come to the city.
That's interesting, you know, it's, I think there's gonna be a few more pieces coming up, tax forfeit. Anybody have any questions on that acquisition? If not, can I call for motion? We adopt that resolution.
So moved.
Motion made by Lillis. Do I have support?
I'll support.
Support by Hoag. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. I was gonna bring up, one thing, it's a subject that we had before. I got a call from Jordan Metza, and he asked us if we were interested in revisiting this sanitary sewer district concept that we had a while back, because Gilbert needs a major renovation, and probably it's kind of good timing. Well, it kind of went by the wayside, but his office called, there's some funding, and the MPCA was involved. And I said, I'm pretty sure I was gonna ask everybody here if we're still interested, and to send him a letter of interest that we are, because I know Phil Township is interested. And we contact Leonidas, and I'm sure they'd be interested, because there's some programs, I guess, coming about out there. And I was looking at down the road where, I don't agree with a lot of stuff the MPCA does, but I think their idea of combining a lot of these small plants into one large one, it's more economical, easier to manage, you know, just the environmental exposure is a lot easier to control. And if there are gonna be some financial programs out there, and through Congressman Nolan's office, they said they've got some bipartisan legislation for these projects. I think it might be a time to jump in before it gets to be a mandated issue. And then everybody will be clamoring for the funds, and you know what happens when there's too many people eating at the pie. The numbers get less. I know our plant and everything is, you know, up to speed, and they're looking for our support to do a feasibility study on this, just to see what it would take, because they've already did it up in Chisholm, Hibbing, west end of the range. And basically they went through a lot of bumps in the road there. Should make it a little easier. Geographically, we're so much closer, communities. So I mentioned that we would, if everybody's agreeable, have the city administrator send a letter that we are interested and a feasibility study in this project. And Jordan also would kind of be the point person. He would take care of getting it to Nolan's office, getting it to his brother, Representative Metza, and to the MPCA, because they were real interested to see us working together. And it kind of makes sense to me, I don't know.
I have to agree, Mayor. That's, I think we need to be ahead of the curve here as best we can, and certainly worth exploring whether or not it's feasible. You know, I think we've looked at the situation previously, and our capacities are such that we can handle the load. But I think if it is feasible and we can get ahead of the game and score a little bit of cash in the process to make everything work, I think that would be a great thing. And I think that kind of goes in the same direction we've all been leaning towards anyway, and that's the cooperation and sharing of services with neighboring communities.
Because you see how much these standalone plants cost.
Oh, it's terrible.
8 to 10 million, you know, the populations have dropped considerably. You know, if you can save everybody a bunch of money by doing it.
Does our plant still have a lot of room for capacity?
We have some capacity, but on heavy rain days, as of today, it didn't seem like it was raining hard today, but we got a lot of rain. We would be in trouble taking anybody else. You know, you only have so much capacity.
So just thinking of that as an option.
When you do, well, there'd definitely be some major modifications, whether it be putting the product between both plants and having just one source of effluent instead of two going out. Maybe there's a partial facility one place, and this is part of the whole process, ours, not the total one. Because on level flows, yeah, our plant can handle it, but you look at Eveleth on a hill, Gilbert's got a hill, Midway too, you know, you've got, one
Right.
part of it is high, when you get heavy rains, you've got that surge. You need a holding pond probably somewhere.
Right.
But the idea is if they're gonna sink some money in, you can get a bunch of other funding and combine the facilities into one. And years down the road, there's gonna be a big, huge payback for all the users of every community. More people on the system, the cheaper it is. Sure. And they could probably design it for any kind of a business expansion. You can add on to it, because they're pretty good, especially when the MPCA is involved. They'll make sure to get something then that'll work. Because I think they're really onto something by combining all these small plants. Just a headache for everybody, for them, for us, you know, for all the communities, because the resources are dwindling.
I agree, Mayor, that we've been looking for quite some time to combine services with our neighboring communities as much as possible, and we're still working towards that goal. I think this is a big step. I think we are borderline with our capacity on certain days, but whatever renovation we need to do to increase our ability to take the load would be a lot cheaper than what they're going to pay for one sewer plant. And it's easier to form a district and have everybody involved and just contain it to one. So I'm on board with that. Let's work together.
Well, that's like I say, you know, the problems they had forming it, you know, in the west end of the range, they went through that. So, you know, there's a lot of hurdles you don't have to jump. Some problems they had, they worked them out, different things. Like I say, we're so darn close, and it's gonna save everybody money in the long run. That's what it's all about. And a little better control on what goes on in the environment that way. I think, before it gets mandated, which myself, I believe it will, and rightly so. It should be with all these plants running themselves. You know, some of the communities have a hard time to afford a facility like that. Then if somebody else wants to come into the system, there's another opportunity. If they got a plant that needs an upgrade, maybe we just go in with those. Because you got the agency who's willing to work with us, you know, wholeheartedly. And the congressman's office said there's some funding coming up, so I think it's time to jump at it. So everybody's in agreement. Do we have to put that in the form of a motion, Jackie? Or?
Yes.
Well, if no one has any objection, I'd like to call for a motion to authorize Jackie to write a letter to Jordan Mess expressing our interest.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Lillis, support by Hadrava. And Jackie, I think you could contact Leonidas too, because I'm sure they'd be interested too.
Yes, I can.
Because that was one of the communities mentioned, 4 of us. Eveleth, Gilbert, Leonidas, and Fail, because I know Fail is already on board. And forward those to Jordan Metza, and he will see that they get channeled to the appropriate people. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything, Brian, you have anything else to bring up?
No, sir.
Brad?
We had a park commission meeting last week, and am I correct, Jerry? We are going to open the park on May 1st, right?
Yep.
That is the Veterans Park out at Ely Lake, and camping is ready to fly on May 1st, guys, so start making your reservations.
Brian, do you have anything to add?
No HRA meeting this month was canceled. I have one in May. No
Things
other,
have been pretty quiet around, you know? I suppose now things will start picking up with the alley cleanup and as the weather gets better.
Speaking of that, I think we have dumpsters, don't we,
Yes, we do.
Jerry?
Started Monday.
Oh, it started, okay.
Started Monday.
That's probably one of the best programs that you ever put together. You know,
People like
it's-
it. Gives them a chance to clean up their yards and their houses. The next 2 weeks, starting next Monday, will be open late too, so people that can't get down there, we're open till 6 for 2 weeks, starting next 3:30.
can I want to put a plug in for the Chief Haas and the fire department. You're having your Duke Scorch barbecue during the citywide rummage sale. All right.
That's usually a busy day in town. You really gotta keep your eyes open. There's people darting out of alleys and everything else.
And that'd be interesting. We have, would you say, Chief, up to about 6,000 more cars coming through our area?
That's what they're claiming, at least on 37 and Highway 53 in Pullman here. I have noticed an increase on Vale Road the last week.
Well, school is still open and we have a big rummage sale event coming up. Everybody please drive careful. Watch for kids and watch for adults driving out of the alley.
You ever notice another peculiar thing now? There's no snow and how everybody's really observing calendar parking. The cars are all over the place like you threw a hand grenade on the street. Now you go down there, they're lined right up just like they're ready to go on a parade. No snow and everybody parks on the right side. I don't know. Maybe I just noticed the wrong
Took
thing.
6 months to get it.
6 months to train them. Chief, you have anything to add? Jerry, you got anything else to bring up?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring you up to date on the water plant. We started the activated carbon system on last Wednesday, and I haven't had any complaints after the couple days after that, when it started working. And it seems to be working. Hate to put my foot in my mouth. It's working right now.
Do you have a direct phone line that you would like to advertise if there's any complaints?
No, but I live in town too, so I know, and it did clear up.
I too have not gotten any more complaints, so.
Yeah.
No, it's been quiet.
How long they give you to run it? They give you a certain...
We have a permit to run till September. So
Oh, okay.
we can run this temporary one till September, then we gotta decide what we want to do.
That seems
This
to
is a
work.
one-time thing, it's test.
So should we start looking now? Because if it's done in September, do we need to be, have something operational in September?
Be a good
permanent?
idea to start. And, you know, in the winter months, we usually don't have a problem. It's in the early spring, you know, through the summer and then in the beginning of fall, during the late turnover mainly. So if we could run it from a certain date to a certain date, then not run it through the winter. But that would be a test, so we'd have, but it's obviously work. We pretty much know that. We'll see through the summer. If it comes up again and we're running the system, then some.
Did we ever do any cost estimates on the system before we put that temporary one in there?
I know Ryan Capel did a few with Stantec, and he was mentioning it was maybe 50, 60,000 for the feeding system. That's not including, you have to have a fireproof building, so you'd have to have a building made out of block. Everything metal in it, so. That's about all I know. I know that was 3 years ago or so that they
Yeah, that
they were
number's-
looking into it.
That number sounds familiar. Don't you mention it, we were talking about that.
But that's the system and running it, but not, we'd have to look into it. Check what it would be.
I think we
But
should,
it's something to think about.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should start,
Well,
Solving
you've
the
got these
problem.
different winters now. Look at the odd, in the spring, we had all that rain. Took care of that snow in a few days, that caused the problem.
I mean, the ice was still on St. Mary's when, you know, all this chatter was on Facebook that I saw about it.
And like I say, it's no guarantee. It could have been a coincidence that it went away, because it does go when it comes and goes as it wants to, but we've been smelling it coming off the lake into the plant, and it stinks. So, it doesn't stink as it's leaving the plant, so we're pretty sure it's.
I think we should kind of start
Start the groundwork anyway.
Yeah, no,
I
no.
think I'd be on board with looking into it.
this early summer, just so when, if it is successful, you know, we can have it, you know, this fall even if we need it.
Well, you've been having some odd weather, you know, in the winters, and that kind of agitates
I was
the
listening to the
problem.
weatherman, Mayor, and it didn't sound like these strange weather patterns were gonna change anytime
No,
soon, so.
we're talking an El Nino winter, you know what that is? No snow. And all the problems in the spring, you know, like you had.
Right.
Jerry, anything else for
No,
us?
that's it, Mayor, thank you.
Jackie, you have anything?
I don't think so.
Joel, do you got anything?
I don't, Mayor, thank you.
Steph, you got any news for us? Does anyone from the audience have anything? If not, then I'll adjourn the meeting.